Hello again, Struck. Today I'm bringing you another build video for Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. This one is for Drizzt, and I've decided to call the build CRITSTER because it's all about those big crits, so with the splash of Lifesteal, of course, to keep us healed up. It's about stacking as much crit damage as possible alongside Lifesteal. 5 pieces of the Dragonsbane Set and 3 pieces of the Dragonsbane Set can give us 30 and 20% crit damage, while the Sorcere set can give us 2% Lifesteal with 3 pieces, and with 5 pieces another 5% Lifesteal. So we take 3 pieces of one set and 5 pieces of the other based on whether we want more crit damage or Lifesteal for a build that fits our needs. We can combine this with some cold or lightning damage and conditioned penetration on our weapon, so that we can be freezing or shocking enemies to give us some breathing room for DPS. But massive DPS for this build comes from one of the moves called Gloom Splash, which we would try to use as much as possible. There's things like Dual Edge Strike that has a chance to shorten the ability cooldowns by 4%, which could help keeping the frenzy and vampiric buffs of Battle Trance up as much as possible. And then there are 3 different moves we can use to inflict Cursed. Cursed makes enemies take 50% more damage. Those moves are Near Conjuration, Dark Portal and Dark Hands. During our ultimate, like all the other heroes, we get more tanky and we get better DPS, and that can stack very well with the frenzy buff from Battle Trance. In general, the build I think can solve some content, maybe all content, but let's say some. But it will require amazing reflexes and timing, so if you're not that great at dodging at the right moment, parrying at the right moment, using your abilities at the right moment, this may not be the class for you. Not the build, but the class in general for you, because it's squishy, a lot of things can one-shot us, and you have to keep that in mind. And here we are talking about the abilities. So there are 2 abilities I like using, but there's a third one that you might want to implement. So I use Battle Trance and Fury Fire, but some of you might want to use Blink for the Precision Strikes buff. So Battle Trance is to grant us Vampiric and Frenzy. Vampiric gives us a tremendous amount of Lifesteal that can pretty much let us face tank anything that's not a one shot, as long as we are constantly hitting and comboing moves on an enemy to heal ourselves, and Frenzy just an increase to our damage. Fury Fire inflicts Cursed, which makes enemies take 50% more damage. It also inflicts Frightened on monsters, which makes them unable to move, and it causes goblins to flee, which I'm not a big fan of, but you might like it to give you some breathing room. Now Blink makes you invisible, and it ends as soon as you do damage, but it doesn't end if you take damage. And when you exit, you get Precision Strikes, which increases your crit chance. Those are the abilities worth mentioning in my opinion. Obviously the 4th one is Cloud of Daggers. If you really like it, sure, use it. But those are what I like. Now let's say a few words about useful combo moves. Gloom Splash is your main source of damage. This move you wanna use as much as you can. You have to tap backward after most attacks. I'm gonna try and demonstrate it quickly. So 1, 2, backward, 1, 2. See this one, this is it. You have to make sure the character is not moving to get this to proc, to work. Now there's 3 moves that can do Cursed. This one can do Cursed, this one can do Cursed, and this one can do Cursed. Cursed makes enemies take more damage, 50% more damage, so you might wanna include those in your build. Now there's one more thing which you might wanna consider implementing in your combos. This one has 35% to shorten abilities cooldowns by 4%. It also does solid damage, not as much as Gloom Splash, but it's solid damage. So consider implementing this in your build. Now this one can also inflict certain things like Frightened and Stamina Destruction, but I wouldn't recommend it as much. This one can inflict frightened and slow recover and replenish slow recover stamina. So not that bad, but again very slow wind up. So I would focus on this move and maybe picking whichever your favorite is from the cursed ones alongside the edge strike. For the consumables, I like using health potion alongside potion of heroism and a potion of elixir of concentration. And for the final slot, whether you need elemental resistance or physical resistance, you choose one. Choose whatever you want for the content you're doing. For the boss fight you will be doing, where the boss will be doing more physical or elemental resistance, it's up to you. I like those. Some of you might even want to use cleansing. I'm not a big fan of unstoppable. Unstoppable makes you still take damage but be kind of immune to knockbacks and stuns and stuff. So that's my preferred choice. Maybe you might want to use something like this as well, but hopefully this helps. Now here we are talking about equipment. And there are some things that are worth mentioning when talking about equipment. So for the cape, I would like to call it cape, although it's probably called piwafi. Let's call it the cape. For the cape you want crit chance, you want strength, you want intelligence, and then ideally you would have something like ultimate charge bonus. Alternatively, you can get some good stats like constitution, dexterity, maximum HP, charisma, but I think you need to know that constitution gives you less HP than maximum HP, so if you don't need the stamina bonuses from constitution and you just need HP, just get maximum HP instead of constitution. I've tested it and I can confirm that. Now for the scimitar, for your weapons, for your blades, 2 times flat elemental damage, ideally cold or lightning, just like the thing I've got right now. And then you want conditioned penetration. And then the next would be a fewer. I've taken elemental penetration as a fewer. You might want to take armor penetration as a fewer. Next we're moving on to the helmet. You want something like this. Crit chance, then 2 times crit damage. Keep in mind certain affixes can roll twice on an item, and this is the case here with lightning damage, the case here with crit damage for me, and the rest is some type of resistance, any resistance as a fewer. For the bracers, you would want 2 times maximum hit points bonus and 2 times stamina cost reduction bonus. The alternative choices are resistances, and I prefer stacking stamina and HP rather than resistances, but if you want to go for a resistance build, maybe sacrifice some of the stamina cost and get more resistances to a certain element if you're doing a content, a boss that requires some resistances. Then for the chest, you would want 2 times maximum hit points and ideally 2 times maximum stamina bonus. I'm gonna try and find you something that shows you this. I probably don't have it to show, unfortunately. But yeah, you would want twice the maximum stamina bonus alongside twice maximum HP. Then for the legs, you would want 2 times maximum stamina and then 2 times stamina again. I've got one of those things rolled only once, so you can see. Maximum stamina bonus is 20% normally, and I've got 25, so it's strange, but yeah, stamina again. I'm not sure which one I've got twice, but just take those twice. Make sure there's no resistance there. I can't tell you which one. I think the maximum stamina bonus is doubled for me. Yeah, the maximum stamina bonus for me is doubled. And this can go up to 30% on a single piece of equipment. Then for the necklace, you want things like crit chance, which I'm missing. Then you want 2 times crit damage, which again I'm missing. And you want ultimate charge bonus. Good alternatives are maximum HP, armor penetration, elemental penetration. But I would say Even maximum stamina is not that bad, but I would say stay away from the maximum stamina. You already have enough of it. You won't need as much of it, so just focus on crit chance, 2 times crit damage, ultimate charge bonus. If you don't want the ultimate charge bonus, replace it with maximum HP. For the ring, the exact same deal. 2 times crit chance, 2 times crit damage. I only have 1 time crit damage. Then you want things like ultimate charge bonus. And if you don't like the ultimate charge bonus, then get maximum HP would be my ideal choice, or elemental penetration. And that pretty much is it for the items. When we talk about the attributes, I want you to know something. I made a big mistake when leveling up Drizzt, and I put points into dexterity. And dexterity is not that great as you might think. It gives you 0.5 crit chance and 0.5 crit damage per point, which is with 20 points, which is the maximum you can get excluding bonuses from items. That's 10% crit chance and 10 crit damage. The crit chance is good, but the crit damage should have been 20 or 30, maybe even more, maybe even 40. So if they double, triple or quadruple the bonus crit damage that dexterity gets, I would see more reason to invest into it. You can get 80% crit chance just from items, so getting that 10% crit chance from having 20 dex is not that necessary when we are considering min-maxing our gear for 80% crit chance and getting 8% from our feats, from our passives. That's 88% just out of the blue without the 10% from here. So you would want to put points into strength until it's filled up, until you can no longer put points into strength. And then one version would be putting points into intelligence until you can no longer put points into intelligence. The other version is doing the same with constitution. So if you go and max out your int, then maybe putting some points into con won't be bad for some survivability. Or if you go putting points into con, then put the rest into int for elemental damage and cooldown reduction. I personally prefer doing strength max, int max, and then the rest into con. So those points I have into dex, I would prefer to have put them into con. I can't wait for the developers to add a respect system. If they don't, then they're making the biggest mistakes they can make for a game like this. So hopefully they let us respect those attribute points soon. Now, when talking about the build rotations, the build combos, there are certain things to keep in mind, as I mentioned in the move segment. So first of all, it would be the splash skill, which you can see has some serious DPS that it can cause. And as long as you're causing cursed, you would have some nice damage going on for you. And for the whole team, because cursed doesn't just increase your damage, it increases the damage of the whole team. Now, there are certain things like the Black Hand, like the portal that can inflict cursed, and those are nice. Those are definitely nice moves. This one is kind of slow, so I wouldn't recommend using it much. But if you feel like using it, sure, use it. And as I mentioned, there's the what's it called, the Near Conjuration, which is tapping forward and then left click after most fierce attacks, which is also kind of an interesting thing. Very interesting thing to use. I'm trying to show you. Weirdly enough, it works with backwards instead of forward to me. Yeah, it works with backwards for me, even though it says forward over here. This one I'm doing with backwards instead of forwards, which is strange, but that's how it is. So keep that in mind. The Panther attack, the Portal attack, and the Dark Hands attack for cursed, whereas for damage, it's the right click after most attacks and backwards, which is Gloom Splash. Tap backwards and right click after most attacks. As long as you do this, as long as you use your Vampiric at the right moment from your abilities, from the Trance ability, the Battle Trance, you shouldn't have a problem. Since you can also cast Fiery Fire to get cursed on enemies, it's also nice. It can save you time so you don't have to do moves on boss fights. But apart from that, the build is squishy, so you would have to be dodging a lot of the time when Vampiric is not on. You would have to pay attention to not get one shot and to not get hit a lot. So not everyone's build, I understand that not everyone likes to be this squishy or need to dodge and parry as much. I personally don't like playing this hero as much as I like playing the others, just for that one reason, because I can't take many hits, I can't avoid getting hit, I can't make myself invulnerable or something like that as much as the others. I don't have ranged, so even though I can get Drizzt very good geared up, it still doesn't feel good enough for my taste. But hopefully some of you like that build. To get notified when I upload more content for this game or other games like this one, which would be wooters of all varieties, isometric, third-person aRPGs, wooter shooters and all sorts of wooters like that, you could subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to not miss out on my content updates. And optionally, you can even join as a member of the Struck Club on YouTube as a channel member to get access to exclusive perks such as special emotes custom made by me, special badges custom made by me that represents how many months you have been a member for, as well as opt-in of editing tutorials that I can give for Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, as well as shoutouts and things like that. And I would like to use this part of the video to thank all my YouTube members and Twitch subscribers. Thank you for supporting the channel and keeping me going. Thank you also for watching this video, everyone. Keep it cool, Struck Club. Until next time, and goodbye.